So this is the video. This is the big video. This is the one I was going to watch. I obviously, probably by the time this one is over, the rocket strikes will have already been, at least beginning to happen. And so they did another interview today, and this is where, obviously, this is in English. It is, again, probably, you know, done in order to reach American audiences. Are you a Jew in disguise? Am I a Jew? As far as I know, I have literally zero Jewish heritage. But as far as I know, it is a literal fucking goose egg. Literally zero. You look Irish and German? Good one. And Scottish, too. That's the third one. But yeah, those are the main three. Gold, yes. Anybody that has gold in anything, that automatically means it's a Jew. No, it does not. No, that's not it at all. Yes, I've seen the Asmongold Goldstein, the Asmongold Goldberg stuff. Listen, guys, I've seen all of it, okay? I think it's funny. I do. It's funny. I don't take offense to it. It's just funny to me. Here we go.
The news that has just come in, the Wall Street Journal.
So this came out this morning. Like, actually just a couple of hours ago.
Is reporting that Iran has been urgently signaling that it wants to end hostilities and to resume talks over its nuclear program. According to the journal, they have been sending messages to Israel and the United States via Arab intermediaries. Have you received that message from the Iranians?
Well, not directly, but I'm not surprised. I mean, they want to continue to have these fake talks in which they lie, they cheat, they string the U.S. along, and you know, we have very solid intel on that.
Yeah, that's the reason why they killed them in the middle of negotiations, is they thought they were getting bullshitted. Yeah, it's obviously
why. They want to keep on building their nuclear weapons and building their mass ballistic missile arsenal, which they're firing at our people. They want to continue.
Says him. Yeah, obviously it says him. But like that's their line of reasoning, and it makes sense.
Continue to create the two existential threats against Israel while they're talking. That's not going to happen. You know, we're not at the 11th hour.
Keep what he said in mind. He said two existential threats. Nuclear is only one of those threats. So even if Iran denukes and they sign all of this denuclearization thing, this will still not absolve them of the problem that Israel has with them. So like getting to a nuclear agreement will not completely solve this.
We're the 12th hour, and we stop. We acted to secure the life of the nation. And we're going to continue until we remove the two existential threats, the nuclear threat and the threat of 20,000 ballistic missiles that are equivalent to 2 nuclear bombs. So they want to stop and keep it. But we are committed to removing those threats.
So if you were an I don't really know, right? I mean, a lot of this stuff is like, it's very hard to assume intent, but there are a lot of people that like, I mean, if I was going to read this and read into this with a person who has a mind that is anti-Israel, I would say that they're hedging their bets. So even if Iran does come to the table with the nuclear, you know, like treaties and everything, that Israel can still have a justification to continue bombing them and continue attacking them. Do you see kind of like where that's coming from? They already had a nuclear agreement? Yeah, but they didn't do it.
So I think what I hear you saying quite clearly is there will be no end to the Israeli bombing of Iran until you have accomplished your objective here. You're not going to stop.
Objectives. Multiple. There are 2 objectives.
Peace talks.
Well, look, we had the peace talks. We gave it a chance. We've, you know.
They gave peace a chance, and man, I am so glad I played that game. I think about that game once every 3 days, if not more. And now they're giving war a chance. Oh my God. Yep. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. That shit was crazy.
Clenched our teeth. We did everything we could to enable President Trump to negotiate the desired result, and that would have been preferable for us, and I think for everyone. But we saw in the course of the negotiations, while they were negotiating with the United States, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, tweeted almost every day, "Death to Israel." The talks were merely a facade. And we absolutely...
I can't believe in this day and age, you have world leaders that are like fucking getting mad about tweets. They're like, oh yeah, oh, you're saying you want to negotiate with us? Well, then why are you tweeting that you want to blow up our country? Like, isn't that insane? Stalin, yeah. Like, what would Hitler be tweeting?
Could be achieved with the negotiations, fine, but it wasn't being achieved, so we had to act to safeguard our existence. You would do the same.
Can you imagine that?
But over the weekend, we heard from President Trump on Truth Social.
I guess I can find out. Just pull up
Iran
Kanye's
and
Twitter.
Israel should make a deal and will make a deal. We will have peace soon between Israel and Iran. Many calls and meetings now taking place. So
Surely.
if President Trump asked you to stop the bombing campaign to resume these talks, would you do it?
Well, President Trump has been a great leader of the world, and a great leader and a great friend of Israel. And he put forward the terms very clearly in the negotiations. He said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And in order for it not to have a nuclear weapon, it cannot have the capacity to enrich uranium, which is the prerequisite for nuclear weapons. Iran refused. It just refuses all the time. It cheats, and it continues to try to weaponize the enriched uranium they already have. They have 9 atom bombs worth of enriched uranium. They're working secretly, as we shared with the United States. They're working secretly to rapidly weaponize this. In a few months, they would have nuclear bombs. That's what they wanted.
And I think this type of language doesn't work as well anymore because, again, a lot of the people that are voting age in America remember hearing this about Iraq. And Saddam Hussein, oh, we've got to go over there and do that. You see what I'm saying? He didn't answer? Yeah, he did. Yeah, and also keep in mind, he did not answer that. WMDs again? Yeah, and the thing is that it could be a boy who cried wolf situation. He could be telling the truth now, but the problem is that when people have been alienated through lies, the truth looks like a lie. It's like you have false negatives and you also have false positives.
They want to continue stringing the U.S. along, build up those weapons. They don't want a seat at the table. They want to blow up the table. Well, specifically, they want to blow up Israel and purchase time. And I think the U.S. shares the intel. I know they share the intel because we share intel with each other. If it's fake talks, obviously not. If Iran will relinquish the means to destroy our country, then obviously it's preferable to anything else. But that hasn't happened.
Keep in mind that there are 2 very different goals. America's goal is preventing Iran from having nuclear weapons. Israel's goal is preventing Iran from having nuclear weapons, preventing them from having ballistic missiles and regime change. As a third tertiary goal that's not... The main thing are the missiles and the bombs. So even if they get the nuclear deal passed, it's not like Israel is going to be like, well, we like Iran now. You see what I'm saying?
And frankly, I doubt it's going to happen now.
But he said Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make a deal. How do you explain that disconnect? He seems very optimistic, in fact, seeming like he wants you to get back to the table and get back to the table now. You're saying there's no getting back to the table until the goals of the bombing campaign are achieved.
Well, if the goals could be achieved through negotiations, fine. I said that to the president when I saw him in Washington. That didn't happen in the 2 months of negotiations that President Trump gave them. Right now, they thought that they could get away with it. They found that our very decisive and very precise military action against their nuclear program, against their ballistic missile program, is effective. So now they want to stop it and continue on the side to continue to develop those 2 means of mass death that are meant to wipe Israel off the map. And this is a battle, that we have to assure is won.
I don't think you can prevent countries from developing nuclear weapons perpetually. Eventually, more and more countries will get technology and develop them. I'm curious how such a future will look. I think you're right, actually. Yeah, I think it will only become more evident as technology and AI evolves. You're right about that. But you can and you can stop it by doing this, and this is clearly what they're trying to do. Nuclear weapons stop wars. Well, and here's the thing, and I've heard people say this, is that none of this would have happened if Iran had a nuke in the first place. But other people say that, well, if Iran had a nuke in the first place, it wouldn't have happened because it would have already blown up Israel. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know the future.
If it could be won diplomatically, fine. Frankly, it didn't happen diplomatically, and we had to act because we're not going to put our neck on a nuclear, to a nuclear knife and let them destroy us. We're fighting this larger war against this oppressive regime that has oppressed the Iranian people for 46 years, that has spread mayhem, violence, and terror throughout the Middle East and well beyond. They tried to assassinate President Trump twice. They tried to kill me twice. They actually had their proxies shoot a drone right into my bedroom window. They're targeting every one of our ministers, key ministers, for death. So they speak a good line, but they don't walk the walk. And again,
what? I mean, you think that's not true? I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I could imagine it to be true. I mean, like, there's no citation involved here. I'm not sure. Do you think Iran would have nuked them because Palestinians would be affected as well? I don't know if Iran wants that, to be honest. I don't know. Would Iran really nuke Israel if they had a nuke? Everything that Iran has said indicates that they would. Like, they have never said anything that isn't, we will destroy Israel.
We have to remove that threat, and I think it's a larger battle. It's a battle of civilization against barbarism. This regime is the cult of death. Don't make any mistakes about it.
I agree with him there. And I think that you can tell that it's a death cult when the people get killed and then Iranian fucking officials say they were martyred. That's absolutely death cult language. 100%.
And sometimes, the forces of civilization have to act before it's too late. We did. And we're going to remove those threats against our existence one way or the other. The Jewish people haven't traveled over time this great odyssey of 3,500 years with some of the worst tragedies meted out to any people during their existence. We're not going to have a second Holocaust. We'll do.
This is somebody's got to tell them to stop bringing this shit up, because I just feel like more and more people are just ulting again. Yeah, I mean, I maybe I shouldn't call them bringing up the Holocaust or Hitler ulting, but I guess that's something I just started saying yesterday. But I think that is the way a lot of people feel about it, one way or another.
Whatever is necessary to prevent that. And President Trump has been a terrific friend and a terrific leader, and I trust his judgment, and we have, together, we know what needs to be done in order to assure that those two twin threats to our very survival, to the survival and the peace of the world, are removed.
So are you going to target the Supreme Leader?
Bro, he just waits for that shit to happen. Yeah, okay, so are you going to blow him up or not? Yeah, sure. Straight to the point. Yeah. You trust his judgment? Yet you don't listen? Well, I'm not trusting it. Like, I'm thinking about this myself. What is this here? IRGC spokesman says the 9th wave of Operation True Promise 3 began moments ago and will continue uninterrupted until dawn. Okay, well, that means we can probably expect to see some bombs really, really soon, because that's the Iranian attack initiative.
The peace of the world are removed.
So are you going to target the Supreme Leader?
Oh.
Look, we're doing what we need to do. I'm not going to get into the details.
Has he answered a single one of these questions straight out? Because I feel like every single time this guy gets asked a question, he answers something else.
But we've targeted their top nuclear scientists. It's basically Hitler's nuclear team. We got them. We still have work to do on other sites. We have targeted their ballistic missile manufacturing facilities. Understand this. You see these bombs. You saw a single bomb. It's a 1-ton bomb, John, dropping on Tel Aviv and other places, causing killing men, women, and children. They're deliberately targeting our population. We're not doing that. We're targeting their military sites, their nuclear sites.
Keep in mind that even if this is true, it should also be noted that the death toll from Iranians to Israelis is, for every one Israeli that's been killed as a citizen or civilian, 10 Iranians at least have been killed.
They're ballistic missile sites, so they don't have 20,000 of these that no country could survive with. Yeah, they want
population, bro. You're right. You're right. And all of these things, but it's not as one-dimensional as it's being displayed. It's not. Like, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to add context because I think that it's important to know that.
Continue stringing us along, but there's a limit, because if we don't act now, there won't be a 13th hour. So we have to act. But what I'm saying is that we're not merely protecting ourselves, we're protecting everybody. We're protecting our Arab neighbors with whom we want to expand the peace, as we did under President Trump's leadership in the Abraham Accords. That will be possible if Iran is defanged. We're also protecting the world. They have ballistic missiles that can now reach deep into Europe and soon could reach the United States. And imagine what this regime that caused death to America every time, that bombed your American embassies, that murdered 241 Marines in Beirut, that killed and injured thousands of American servicemen in Iraq and Afghanistan, that tried to blow up a restaurant in Washington, that burns the American flag. You want these people to have nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to your cities? Today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York.
This is what a lot of people are saying. Right. And I think that's talking about Gaza. Well, no, what I'm saying is that he's not wrong. I think that nobody wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This is a definitive reality. But I also at the same time think that a lot of the reasons why we have all these problems with Iran is because we're over in the Middle East. Should we be over in the Middle East doing all of this shit in the first place? I think there's a lot of people that would say no. Like, I'm one of them, honestly. Like, I am. I think that we've intervened and we've intermingled and tried to fuck with them for so many years. It's inevitable that bad things like this will happen. You don't need to? Yeah.
I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
But U.S. officials tell...
Yeah, I think that that's the messaging that is working. I think with some Americans is that they think that Iran will bomb the U.S. if it can. And to be fair, I mean, I don't think that's completely untrue either. I mean, there's a good chance it is true. It will? Yeah, I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I've said this before. Like, if Israel prevents Iran from having a nuclear weapon, everybody wins. It is in no one's best interest that Iran has a nuclear weapon.
Us that the president flatly rejected...
By the way, including Iran's. Because if Iran's nutball, crazy, religious, fucking bullshit government goes out and uses a nuclear weapon, they will make an enemy of the majority of the world. And they will pretty much sign the death warrant for probably millions of their citizens the moment they use a nuclear weapon. So even if they get a nuclear weapon, it's even bad for Iran.
A plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the Supreme.
You believe that? Are you dumb? Yeah, I do. I do believe that. I think if any country used a nuclear weapon, they would immediately lose favor and support from the majority of their allies and make an enemy of the majority of the Western world instantaneously. Any country? Yeah, like even if, like, for example, China did or Russia did, I could see if one of those countries did it, I could see the other country immediately condemning it. In the U.S. too. Just a sec, sorry.
Leader. Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict. We've had half a century of conflict spread by this regime that terrorizes everyone in the Middle East, has bombed the Aramco oil fields in Saudi Arabia, is spreading terrorism and subversion and sabotage everywhere. That's the forever war is what Iran wants. And they're bringing us to the brink of nuclear war. In fact, what Israel is doing is preventing this, bringing an end to this aggression. And we can only do so by standing up to the forces of evil. Look, democracies have had to learn this lesson. You know, they faced a tyrannical regime, a radical, fanatic regime.
This is
for 40
again?
years. For 40 years, I've been saying, actually 3 years after the establishment of this radical Islamist Ayatollah regime in Tehran, I said that the greatest danger, not only to the survival of my country, but to the peace of the world, is Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. And they are on the brink of achieving that. So imagine what they're doing now without nuclear weapons. Yeah. Chanting death to America without nuclear weapons. Imagine what will happen if they had nuclear weapons and the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, to deliver it to every place on Earth. We're preventing the most horrific war imaginable, and we're bringing peace to the Middle East. And I believe that after our action, we're going to be able to bring the Middle East to new heights that nobody even imagined. You know, make the Middle East great again. Make it truly.
Man, they're really going all in on this one, huh? This is a whole lot. Yeah, he may be right, but I have a hard time believing any nation is that suicidal. I mean, again, I mean, they whenever one of their people gets killed, they say they were martyred. I mean, like, that's nutball stuff. I mean, it is that's nutball stuff to do. Yeah, his argument, what's this here? Could be said of any country. Wouldn't use nukes. Trying to project your distaste for the American left, weaponizing the term Hitler with Israel's leaders uses it. Regardless how you feel about Netanyahu, their lens is different than ours of own in the West. Yeah, but their lens doesn't override my own. Like, if I don't feel that way, I don't have, like, a moral obligation to automatically agree with them just because they're Jewish. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I'm going to have my own viewpoint on this myself.
Great. Have expand the peace with the Abraham Accords, expand them beyond our belief and imagination, have trade routes, communication routes, energy routes, have trade, tourism between Israel and our Arab neighbors, just as we've done under the Abraham Accords. All of that will be possible if we take away, defang Iran from its capacity to threaten everyone, not only us with our existence, but the regimes and our Arab neighbors and everyone else. This will bring the peace that we all hope for. And this will bring also the assurance of survival and a future for Israel and everyone else.
So it sounds to me like you're saying you disagreed with President Trump on this, saying that taking out the supreme leader would be a mistake. What else would you like from the United States? I mean, the United States could provide.
Well, John, I wouldn't rush to conclusions. Yeah.
Well, he said that it would escalate the conflict. You said it wouldn't. And now I'm asking you, what more would you like from President Trump? From
the outcome of killing the supreme leader is unknown. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but it's too big of a wild card to play unless you absolutely have to. And also, the moment that you kill the supreme leader is the moment that you can't kill the supreme leader. So you lose that leverage. Of course they're not going to kill him unless they have to, because that's like that's one of their nuclear options.
The United States here, do you expect that the U.S. Air Force will help you take out that facility in Fordo?
We've gotten tremendous help from President Trump. American pilots are shooting down drones that are aimed at our cities, along with our pilots.
Great.
We have 2 THAAD batteries in Israel that are helping bring down these murderous missiles. We have Aegis ships that are helping us, and it's deeply appreciated. As far as what else America will do, that's up to President Trump. He will do what's in the best interest of the United States.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand that we deeply appreciate his help and the support of the great majority of the American people, because
why is this all on us? Like, I mean, he said a minute ago that the people that are really at risk of Iran is immediately Europe. Where the fuck is Europe? Why are we responsible for this whole fucking thing? And by the way, France has been helping Israel. They have been. But, like, a lot of these other countries are not. I mean, yeah, it seems so weird that, like, America is always seen as the, we have to sort out all of these problems. Seems a little bit unfucking fair. Especially when Europe stands to lose. Like, yeah, maybe Iran is going to attack us first, but, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, these terrorist groups have killed people in Europe, too. Get out of jail free card? Yeah, it's like all of this stuff is de facto our responsibility. I'll tell you, Sweden at least is selling weapons to both sides and doing all kinds of shady crap in the background. I don't know. Don't blame Netanyahu for the reporter's questions. He just answers. Well, I'm not. Germany and the UK are helping too. Somebody's saying Germany's giving them weapons. I don't know the extent of that. If I do, I've never read anything about it.
They understand what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a regime that hates us both, that is trying to assassinate us both, that is trying to bring death and destruction throughout the Middle East and to the world. And sometimes you have to take a stand. You take a stand with the good against evil, and that's precisely what America is doing under President Trump. It's also bringing freedom, possibility of freedom, to the people of Iran, the long-suffering, brilliant people of Iran. And you know, they're murdering their women. You remember that brave woman who was shot to death, left to bleed to death on the sidewalk in Iran because she uncovered her hair. She didn't cover her hair. Well, I have a woman pilot in my staff who worked on my staff.
It's not, they're nutballs. They're religious nutballs. They are. I mean, really, it's that simple. Like, I mean, I think anybody that looks at it in any other angle, in any other direction, is true. They're crazy. They're nuts. Who the fuck does this?
Who's now
That's not all of Iran. Not only is it not all of Iran, it is the minority of Iran that is even Muslim at all. 30 to 40% of Iranians are Muslim now. So I understand that. I'm not blaming the people. The people have nothing to fucking do with this. It's the government. Those are the nutballs.
Over the skies of Tehran. We control the skies of Tehran. And she's trying to do the things that will prevent this regime from continuing this.
Only 40%, really? Yeah. No, you can look it up yourself. It's less than 30%? Well, the support for the government is less than 20%. And the amount of people that they believe are Islamic or religious in that way is 30 to 40%. Those are the two numbers that I remember. I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's it. Around 9% Muslims. Let me go back. I'll go and see. And support is a different story.
Horrible subjugation of the Iranian people and the rest of the neighborhood, the rest of the world. That's the difference. We're fighting for freedom, our own survival, our own freedom, but also for the freedom of everyone else.
Let me ask you, your defense minister, Israel Katz, said that if the Iranians continue to...
99% is Muslim? What was I thinking about with 40%? No, because like I remember what was 40%? Was that the support for the government? It's got to be Shia and Sunni. That's what it could have been. Yeah, apologies if that's what it was. 40% of the 0.2% are Christian. What's wrong with them considering the dead as martyrs? Islam has a different understanding of the word. Well, I think that it's bad because it glorifies being killed, and I think that's bad. I mean, I don't know what else you really want me to say. Yeah, it's that simple. There's 40% approval. Yeah, that could be 40%, 99% according to Iran, 40% according to independent studies. Yeah, because I want to make sure that I get this right. Give me 1 second. So okay, I wasn't completely crazy because I want to pull this up just to contextualize it. Over 99% of Iran's population is Muslims, over 95% being Shia, and 5 to 10% being Sunni. And then this is according to independent studies. Iran showed varied results due to methodological differences. The most cited independent study conducted by the Group for Analyzing and Measuring Attitudes in Iran. In 2020, it surveyed over 50,000 Iranians and found that only 40% identified as Muslim. So that was the thing that I was talking about. But you can see, obviously, in a country where it's illegal to say that, you're going to have a lot more people thinking that way, right? Sounds a lot more right. Yeah, online. Yeah, sure. And so it's very hard to know what's true. And this is the problem. And this is the same thing with like any of these oppressive regimes. Same with like China, Russia, like Hamas support in Palestine, any of these. Whenever not supporting something gets you killed, it's really hard to get a good frame of reference of how many people support it. Only 28% viewed it positively, 48%. This is another one. National government, 49%. There's more people, 14%. A lot of them do not support the government, right? And it seems to me like it is very obvious that a lot of them do not support the government. And I think that also the 40% number of the amount of them that are actually like practicing like Muslims is probably closer to reality than the 99% because of how many of them don't support the government either. Because like if the government is religiously aligned with you, you would assume that there would be a much higher rate of support. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking.
Target Israeli civilians that, quote, Tehran will burn. What does that mean?
Well, I think he made it clear, because it wasn't clear, and he clarified that what we're doing is targeting regime sites, nuclear sites, military sites, and ballistic missile sites that are embedded in Tehran. Our pilots are very precise. So unlike the Iranian criminal regime, we're telling the people, leave the zone of battle. So that
Didn't the Iranians say the same thing? I thought they did. At least I heard a report about that earlier today.
you're not hurt. And in fact, they are leaving, and that's important. And they're evacuating their homes, and that's because of the mad fanaticism, this anti-Semitic mad fanaticism of the Iranian supreme leader. He's like a modern Hitler. He just will not stop. But we're
I think that this language is actually going to backfire on them. I do. I think it's going to backfire on them in a big way. And I think that I think they've misrepresented and misunderstood where I think a lot of people are coming from in terms of like these different values.
going to make sure that he doesn't have the means to carry out his threats.
And let me ask you one more thing. You mentioned the support of the American people. There are some prominent supporters of President Trump who say that the United States should not be involved at all. Let me give you, for example, Tucker Carlson, of course, has been close to President Trump for quite some time, speaks to him frequently. He said the United States should not at any level participate in war with Iran. No funding, no American weapons, no troops on the ground.
I have no problem selling Iran or selling Israel weapons. I do have a problem giving them weapons.
There is another option. Drop Israel, let them fight their own wars. What do you say to those supporters of President Trump, some of his supporters, who say the United States should not be involved in any way?
We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant, death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way. And this could reach America soon. I mean, to have these mad mullahs who are committed to destroying us in order to destroy you, to say that they should have nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to you, and to say that that's not your interest. Well, we're fighting this war. We're taking the action. America is supporting us in defense, deeply, deeply appreciated. But this is a threat to the entire world. It's a threat to Israel, as I said, to our Arab neighbors, to Europe, to America. They chant death to America. It's though this is not your business. This is not myopia. This is utter blindness. I mean, sometimes you have to take a stand against evil. And that's what the American people instinctively understand, most of them, I have to say. And that's what President Trump understands. We cannot let that happen. We're certainly going to protect ourselves. But in so doing, John, we're protecting everyone else. And we appreciate, deeply appreciate, the help we're getting from the United States of America under President Trump's leadership.
And no.
I think that to a degree that's true, but like to expect us to send over troops and have people go and die for this is a totally different fucking thing. That's a way, way, way different thing. Yeah, this will backfire. Most death to America probably stems from America being too involved over the many years. Yeah, I think there's the way. Yeah, we're not fighting anyone else's wars. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think that the prevailing opinion that's growing every single year in America is that maybe the reason why we have so many problems in the Middle East is because we keep going over to the Middle East and causing problems. I think this is the way a lot of people feel. This is not a minority opinion.
No peace talks at this point. No peace talks till the military objectives are met.
Well, we're going to see if Iran is serious about dismantling their nuclear program, dismantling their missile capacity, dismantling the terror axis that terrorizes everybody in the Middle East and well beyond. If they agree to all of that, obviously, the war could end. If they lay down their arms,
sure,
they lay down their weapons of mass death, that's different. But so far, they haven't done it. And I think the important thing is to make sure that the result is achieved. It's not the means, it's the result. The result that has to be achieved is that Iran does not have the capacity to develop nuclear weapons to destroy the state of Israel, as they promised to do, while they're negotiating, to create a ballistic missile arsenal that is equivalent to several atomic bombs while they're negotiating. That's not going to happen. And of course, to continue the proxy war that was meant to basically snuff out the life of the Jewish state. We said never again. This is something we've said since the Holocaust. The Jewish people have suffered under the Iranian proxies the worst massacre since the Holocaust. Now they're planning a nuclear holocaust. We're not going to let them get away with it. If you can achieve it through different means, that's fine. But it's the result that has to count. The result has to be assured, and that's what I'm looking at. David Ben Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, was tasked with an extraordinary decision to declare a Jewish state after 2,000 years, and he did. I'm tasked with the great mission of assuring the existence of the Jewish state, and we made that crucial decision in the nick of time. And of course, I think that we're successful because our brave pilots, our brave soldiers, our brave people, under this blitz.
Well, they're successful because the U.S. gives them money and funds them. I mean, would Israel exist if the U.S. wasn't helping them? I don't think so. I mean, that's the main reason why they're successful.
The spirit of the blitz of the British during World War II. This is the spirit we have now in Israel. Yes, we're getting bombed, but the people are saying, keep it up. Do what you have to do to remove the threat. One or another, that threat has to be removed.
U.S. aid is less than 4% of Israel's GDP. Then why do they keep asking us for so much aid? Why is it always on us to help them? If we're only 4% of their aid and we're not this big impact, why are they constantly doing this and making these pleas to the American people?
And President Trump said, Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. It cannot have enrichment. He's absolutely right. That result has to be assured, and we're working together to assure it. America, by giving us the means of defense, we, by doing what we have to do to remove those twin threats to our existence. We're very, very resolute about it. The people are resolute, and I call this operation, this historic operation, Rising Lion, because it said in the Torah, in our Bible, the people shall rise like lions.
I don't think that it's very good messaging. And like it's like if you're making an argument that the enemy of yours are a bunch of crazy religious nut jobs, and then you go and bring up, by the way, the reason why we're naming our attack initiative on this country is because of our religious text. I mean, guys, am I crazy on this one? I mean, let's be a little bit honest, okay? It's a little bit, which one is it? Give me a second. And a religious warning. Yeah, it's just, pot meets kettle. Yeah, I think that's the way a lot of people see it. Give me 1 second. I use the bathroom. Israel has been a beneficiary of approximately $125 billion in U.S. aid. That seems like a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And they've risen like lions. And I can't tell you how proud I am of our people,
that's a whole lot.
Of our brave soldiers, and of our many friends around the world who know that what we're doing is right and important to safeguard the future of civilization against these barbarians.
And we are out of time, but very quickly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Israel is one of the most developed and technologically military industrial complexes. America benefits a lot from it too. Great, well then they can fight Iran with it. Sounds good to me.
How much longer do you expect this to go on? Are we talking days? Are we talking weeks? Are we talking a longer war?
John, I have my own assessments, but it'll go on as long as it's necessary to remove those twin evil threats. I think we're well on our way to success. I think what we've shown has amazed the world. Just the precision, the boldness,
I have to admit that it is impressive that they have been able to kill so many of the Iranian officials. That level of efficiency is impressive. I'll give it to them for sure.
The willingness to act to save our country, but to act in a judicious and precise manner that is completely opposite to the indiscriminate bombing of civilians that Iran is doing. We're not doing that. We're doing the opposite. But I can tell you that we're very successful. We're confident, not overly confident, confident, firm, confident in our ability to remove those threats. So one way or the other, those threats will be eliminated.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Thank you, America. Thank you, President Trump.
Okay.
And John Karl joins me now for more on that interview. John, the Prime Minister really seemed to want to get the point across that he sees this as a war not just for the good of Israel, but for the good of the world. So,
yeah, hey, he didn't make the mistake Zelensky did. Yep, true. Yeah, he's not going to do that again. He saw what happened with Ukraine.
First, just your quick take. What's
Oh, geez. Asmon, the isolationist? Yeah, in a lot of cases. I mean, I'm not that much into getting involved with other countries' disputes and problems. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much accurate for sure. I think that there's always a lot of fear-mongering that makes people want to do that, but no. I don't want to deal with that shit. Absolutely not.
Out to you from the conversation you just had with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Well, several things, including that, Diane. Look, it's not just making that point for an American audience. It's making that point for an American audience that supports Donald Trump and doesn't support the idea of America getting involved in Israel.
Correct.
This is what I mean
by that.
Which is
a huge amount of people.
Significant portion of Donald Trump's movement, of the MAGA movement, that is adamantly opposed to the U.S. getting involved in another conflict in the Middle East. Remember, one of the central promises that Donald Trump made was no more forever wars. And there are some prominent figures, prominent supporters of Donald Trump, including people like Tucker Carlson, like Charlie Kirk, like Steve Bannon, who have been very loud and very vocal in saying, Israel, this is their fight, it's not our fight.
Yeah.
So he's using their language when he says, I understand America first, but I don't understand America dead. And that's what Iran wants. They say death to America. So when he is saying that, he is speaking to Donald Trump in a way, saying don't listen to those supporters on your side who are against involvement with Israel on this. Listen to us. You've been Israel's best friend. Continue to support us because ultimately this is not just a threat to Israel, it's a threat to the United States.
You also asked him a few different times about the level of U.S. support.
I mean, Trump's talking about it. Is he really? Let me see if I pull this up.
Mr. President, may I ask you a question, please? G7 leaders are calling for de-escalation in Israel and Iran, but you are the key to unlocking that.
And here I am.
And here you are. So can I ask you, sir, have you spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu? When might you speak to him? And what will you say?
Israel is doing very well, as you probably noticed. And
Israel's doing well?
I gave Iran 60 days, and they said no. And the 61st, you saw what happened. Day 61. So I'm in constant touch.
What a coincidence.
And as I've been saying, I think a deal will be signed or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one.
Mr. President, Iran is accusing Netanyahu of attacking them to deliberately derail your nuclear plan that you had. What do you say to that? Do you think that's true?
No. Look, Iran should have signed the deal.
If it would help bring Iran to the negotiating table, would you guarantee that the U.S. would not get involved militarily?
Well, I think Iran basically is at the negotiating table. They want to make a deal. And as soon as I leave here, we're going to be doing something. But I have to leave here. I have, this commitment.
So he's very, so maybe they're going to be able to do it. Yeah, I don't know. Trump's definitely a mob boss. I mean, this is what he does, right? I mean, like, again, he did the same thing before. Yeah, it's straight up mob boss tactics. Absolutely, it is. This is what we voted for. Yeah, and by the way, I think that's what people voted for him to do. They want him to do this.
A lot of commitments. I have a commitment to a lot of countries, including the UK, where we just signed our deal.
Amazing footage showing the launch of the ballistic missiles today from Iran against Israel. Wait, this is in Dubai? Oh my God.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Turn around? Yeah. Yeah, this is some actual fucking futuristic shit. Look at that. Oh my God. They launch about 200? Yeah? Make a wish? No, I don't think that's that. No, guys, this is not. It's not that kind of a star, okay? Earth looks flat. No, it doesn't. You can literally see it curved. What do you mean?
Wow.
Holy shit, look at them all. Could they realistically hit a satellite at that height? I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, no, I don't think, because they don't, I don't even know if they actually exit the atmosphere. And my understanding is that exiting the atmosphere is the main, that's the main thing that's really hard for them to do. They do? Oh, okay. Well, then maybe they could. I have no idea. Holy shit, man. Jesus Christ. That is, I mean, honestly, it is pretty cool to look at, right? I mean, obviously, it's not good that missiles are being shot around, but this is a fucking badass image. This is really cool to look at. And Flat Earth, yeah, I mean, there it is. It's AI. I mean, yeah, everything's AI. Nothing's real.